Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy, one of the longest serving justices in history, has announced his retirement, and it'll come 1 month shy of his 82nd birthday. Now, even though Justice John Roberts is the Chief Justice, many lawyers found themselves presenting their arguments to Kennedy. The moderate conservative often cast the powerful swing vote in many cases. With his retirement, President Trump has the potential to reshape the court for years to come. CBS's Jan Crawford with some perspective here.
With Republicans in control of the Senate, a chance to really turn the Supreme Court to the right for a generation. Justice Kennedy was a conservative, no doubt, but he had a libertarian streak. He was from California, and so sometimes he would side with liberals on those big social issues that people care about, whether it was abortion, affirmative action, or gay rights. In fact, he wrote all of the decisions preserving gay rights and same-sex marriage nationwide. This will be seen as a tremendous blow to the left and to Democrats, who I am certain will be stunned, because in many ways Democrats made one of the biggest political blunders in modern history by trying to filibuster Justice Neil Gorsuch last year, who of course was nominated to replace the conservative Justice Scalia. Republicans then invoked what's called the nuclear option, did away with filibusters for the Supreme Court, which means it will be very difficult for Democrats to stop President Trump's nominee for this position.
Now, Justice Kennedy met with the president before announcing his retirement. Kennedy submitted his decision in a letter, expressing profound gratitude for the opportunity to serve on the high court. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says lawmakers will vote on a nominee in the fall. But Minority Leader Chuck Schumer calls a vote before the midterm elections the height of hypocrisy. That's because Senate Republicans refused to consider President Obama's pick in 2016, Merrick Garland, saying the American people had a right to make their voices heard during an election year. That set the stage for President Trump to nominate Neil Gorsuch, who the Senate quickly confirmed.